Hey guys, my name's Nell. Today we'll be doing an all-over body workout on the reformer. I've been teaching these programs for 15 years and they successfully progress you through the Pilates repertoire. I really hope you enjoy. Now let's get started. 2 springs or 1.5 springs, tennis ball in between the knees, heels on the bar, parallel. Spine curls with plies on the heels. Tuck the tail, lift up. Press the carriage out, lower the pelvis down, lift up, draw the carriage in, and then roll through the spine. Breathe out to tuck and lift. Breathe in to push out and lower. Breathe out to lift and draw the bed back in, and then roll through the spine. The target area is the back of the legs, drawing the sit bones towards the thighs. The challenge there is to keep the pelvis and spine in neutral, and then posteriorly tilt, really tuck the tailbone up to the ceiling as you roll up and down. Lengthen through from heels to head. Hamstrings are working to keep the bed in at the stopper as you roll up and down. Squeeze the tennis ball ever so slightly, particularly when you draw the bed back in. Really great for the back of the legs. The challenge is to push out, maintain that straight spine and pelvis, draw it back in, and then curve the spine as you roll down. Get rid of the tennis ball. Grab hold of the little rods either side of your ears. Hip rolls with extension, lower and lift. You roll over onto one hip, straighten the legs, lower the legs, lift, bend, and return back to the center. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, return. Keep both shoulder blades plugged down into the carriage, lifting the hip up but keeping that same shoulder as the hip that lifts down onto the carriage. The target area of the obliques, really stabilizing by pushing through the opposite shoulder. So here, press through the left shoulder as you lower them over to the right, and then use your waist muscles to return back to center. Make sure you're neutral. Mini pulses plus obliques. Hands behind your head, lift the head and the chest up. Neutral pelvis, lift your chest, lower an inch down, and then pulse. 2, 3, 4. Keep the pelvis in neutral, drawing the pubic bone, zip it up towards your belly button, then into obliques. So lift, rotate the left shoulder blade up, lower it down an inch, and then pulse. 2. So you're pulsing the left shoulder blade off, but you're actually sort of pivoting around your bra line there. So in fact, both shoulders are off, back through center, then the right shoulder. You lift, you lower, and then you pulse. Focusing on zipping the pubic bone up towards your belly button, but the tailbone is in contact with the carriage. Back through center, lower your head down, keep your hands behind the head, have a little rest, and then lift your head and your chest up, toe taps. Tap one toe down, back up, tap the other toe down, back up, tap both toes down and back up. Pivoting in the hip rather than bending the knee. So you really lever those thigh bones away from your center. The head and the chest is being held up by the abdominals, and your biceps are holding the weight of your head. So lift your head and your chest up, so you're on your bra line area at the base of the shoulder blades, and then press your head back into your hands so your neck is soft. Grab the tennis ball, put it in between your knees, heels sit bone width apart. We're going into plies in a low lift. So you lift your pelvis and your spine off. There's a gap between your pelvis and your spine, about hands thickness, and you maintain that position as you pivot in the hips and the knees. Inhale, press the carriage out. Exhale, return. You're in a neutral pelvis, so your lower back still has a little arch in it. Your glutes and your tummy are supporting the pelvis and that little arch in your lower back. Release the arms, place the pelvis down now onto the toes in parallel. Feet are sit bone width apart, parallel. Lift the pelvis, hover it off, press out and draw in. Inhale, push out, exhale, return. Pelvis and spine in neutral, pivoting in the hips, keeping the pelvis very still. Obliques are working. Your pelvis is not tucking or arching up and down. The pelvis is not tucking up and then posteriorly tilting or anteriorly tilting. You'll just want to keep it in a neutral position. Now into a V. So feet are in a V, toes on the bar, heels together, pressing out and in. Squeeze the heels together. Maintain the pelvis and the spine just off the carriage. Really targeting the back of the legs and the glutes. Squeeze the heels together to activate the inside thighs and feel like you're lengthening out away from the hips, lengthening the legs away from the pelvis. Release your arms, lower down. Heels out wide now, so widen your legs out. Lift the pelvis, neutral spine, push out and in. Out and in. Try and lengthen the thigh bones out of the hips. Keep squeezing the heels in towards one another to activate the inside thighs. Check into your neck and your upper shoulders. Make sure that they're not overworking. Reaching the sit bones towards the heels. Release the arms, lower the pelvis down, and then toes out wide. Lift the pelvis, lift the spine. Pushing out and in. Inhale, exhale. Once again, the movement is not happening in your lower back or your pelvis. The movement is happening in the hip sockets. Keep that sensation of lengthening out of your thighs. Release the arms, lower the pelvis down. Bring your feet together, toes touching, heels ever so slightly apart, build-ups. Grip the toes, straighten your legs, lower the heels down. That's your preparation. You lift the heels up and then return back to the stopper. Straighten your legs, lower the heels. That's a prep. Now 2 rises, bend the knees back in. Straighten the legs, lower the heels. 3 rises, and then bend the knees and return. Draw the legs together. 4 rises, and then return back in. Straighten your legs, that's your prep, lower the heels down, 5 rises. Keep lengthening out away from the hips, reaching out through the crown of the head. 6 rises, squeeze the kneecaps up. Feel like you're pressing the legs down towards the floor to activate the hamstrings at the back. Into Prances, straighten your legs, bend one knee, lower one heel down, lift, and then switch sides. Keep going, really press through the toes, try and lift the heels up as high as you can. Engaging your legs, pressing your heel, and now a little bit faster, pressing through the heel to activate the back of the legs, keep the pelvis very still. Side lie leg plies with the toe in line with your sit bone. So lie side on, put your arm on the headrest, grab hold of the little rod, and then put your top leg in line with your sit bone. You're on the ball of the foot, and the ball of the foot is in line with your sit bone. The underneath side of your waist is lifted, so you've got your core engaged. You press out, and then you press in. Exhale, straighten. Inhale, return. The bottom leg is hovering up so that you're working the inside thigh. You keep your heel slightly lifted off the bar so you're up on a little semi-rise. The heel is pressing away and then towards the sit bone. The top leg is in parallel, knee straight out in front on a horizontal plane. Pressing through the top arm as well to help you stabilize through your shoulders. Now move that leg forward to the front of the bar. Once again in parallel. So your leg is now in front of you, the top one. The bottom leg is still back in line with your pelvis. Keep the heel slightly lifted. And you're pressing out, think of imprinting your thigh bone into the space behind you, working the hamstring at the back there. You might even want to have a little poke around the hamstring, the buttocks there. Pressing the thigh bone back. The underneath leg is engaged using your inside thigh. Shoulders are stabilized and the waist is lifted. Now in rotation, so you turn the top leg out and you put the heel at the front of the bar where the toe was before. The bottom leg is still parallel. You straighten and then you bend. Breathing out to push out, breathing in to return. Think of drawing the inside thighs together, resisting on the way down, engaging the top thigh to straighten the leg, and press through the top hand into the shoulder rest to help you feel lengthened and long through your torso, driving the energy through that heel that's on the bar to create that sensation of a long leg. Now the other side, so you're going to turn around. So you're in the center of the bed, put your arm on the shoulder rest and then grab hold of the pole or the shoulder rest. Okay, the top leg is in line with your sit bone, so the knee is quite bent and then the leg is parallel. The heel is lifted like you're on a high heel, and then you press out and then press in. Exhale through the mouth, inhale through the nose. The heel is in line with your sit bone. You're thinking of imprinting the thigh into the space behind you, lifting up and out of your pelvis. The underneath side waist is lifted, so you're feeling your core muscles, your oblique muscles engaged. The belly button is zipping up. We do 10 of these. Now the leg forward at the front of the bar. 10 of these, pressing out, pressing in. Breathing out to straighten, in to bend. Keep the heel lifted and still in space. Keep the underneath leg lifted to work the inside thigh. The shoulders are away from the ears. That underneath side, there's a little arch there, and the leg is really parallel, kneecap straight out in front. Out through the mouth, in through the nose. Now heel on the bar in rotation, 10 of these. Breathing out to straighten the leg, breathing in to bend. Think of the inside thighs drawing together from the sit bones through to the back of the legs. Squeezing the top kneecap up. When you straighten the leg, really engaging and zipping the thigh muscles up. Checking in to your neck and your shoulders and make sure you're not lifting them up and using your neck as you push out and in. The hand that's on the shoulder rest is pushing firmly into the shoulder rest to help you stabilize. Now we're going to go into abdominals. Change the spring so it's 1.5 springs. So that's 1 full spring, 1 half spring. Curl ups with extension. Knees up into tabletop. Breathe out to lift up. Breathing in to return. 10 of these. Maintaining a neutral pelvis and spine. Pressing the hands into the straps from the abdominals. The legs are in parallel. As you straighten the legs, squeeze the legs together. And the hands hover up just above the hip bones at the side there. Have a little rest. Then we're going into hundreds with bend and stretch. Hands above the shoulder rest. Lift your knees up into tabletop. Legs are together. Lift and extend. And then pulse your arms as you bend and straighten the legs. Keeping the feet on the same plane as you push out and in. Trying to get the legs nice and low now as you're progressing. Reaching the calves just up above the bar. But only do that as long as you don't bulge your abdominals. Pressing the armpits towards the hips to help you anchor down through the lats. Breathe in to straighten and then return back into the stopper. Have a little rest. The next exercise is coordination. We're doing 10 of these, arms up above the shoulders, knees up into tabletop. Lift up, extend, open and close the legs, bend the knees and return back to the start position. Breathe out, breathe in. Breathe out, open, close, breathe in. Really try and curve the upper body so that you lift your shoulder blades off, drawing your ribs towards your hips, and opening and closing, keeping pelvic stability. Have a rest. Then we go into Nutcracker. Hands in a diamond, legs are straight up to the ceiling, so index and thumb are touching. Open your legs, reach the hands towards the bar. 10 of these. 3, 4, so your fingers are creating a diamond shape. 5, 6, draw the heels together. 7, zipping the inside thighs together. 8, breathe out to lift, into lower. 9, last one. 10. Put your feet down, have a rest. Then we're going into reverse single leg stretch. Hands above shoulders. Reach the legs out over the bar, that's the start position. Bend one knee, lower the arms down. Bend one knee, lower the arms down. The challenge here is to hold the legs out straight without arching your the lower back. We want to maintain a neutral lower back and neutral pelvis. When you reach the legs out, zip the waist in like you're doing up a tight belt. Out through the mouth, in through the nose, and then place the feet down. We're doing a spring change now. Feet in straps, put 1 3/4 or 1 1/2 on. Feet in straps. Put your feet in the straps. We're going to do circles. 3 variations in one direction and then 3 variations in the other direction. Put your feet in the straps. We're going to start with circles parallel. The legs are straight, parallel and up to start. Open the legs out, draw them down and together. 5 in this direction, parallel. Focusing on keeping the thigh bones really parallel, inside thighs are working. Only lower the legs down within a range that your tummy doesn't puff out. It's a pelvic stability challenge. Then we turn the legs out, same direction, open them and then circle them around in that direction, but the legs are turned out, so the heels will draw towards one another. Now we're working on keeping the glutes, the deep external hip rotators engaged, maintaining pelvic stability, using the back of the legs, not your lower back. And then internal rotation, same direction. Open the legs, draw them down. The legs are pigeon-toed, so your toes are in, your heels are out. The legs are internally rotated like your kneecaps are drawing in towards one another. 5 in that direction. Pelvic stability, once again, is the aim. And then we reverse the circles, so parallel again. So now lower them first and then around. Lower them down and around parallel. Inside thighs, back of legs. Don't use your lower back, use your tummy and the back of the legs instead. 5 of those, and then turn the legs out and then do it in that direction. So the legs lower down, circle them, heels together, toes are apart. Even here at the top there, really working those deep hip thigh rotators. And then after 5 of those, then we do same direction of the circle, but internally rotate. So the legs go down, out and around and up. They're pigeon-toed, toes together, heels apart. Almost like you're drawing your thigh bones in towards one another, your knees in towards one another. Pelvic stability. 5 of those. Frogs. Bend one knee, open the other leg out. Bend one knee, open the leg out. The challenge here is to keep the pelvis very still as you open the leg out to the side. The control leg is the leg that bends. You want to keep that heel in line with your pubic bone as you bend it. Similar to the normal frogs that we do in the previous workouts. This is all about pelvic stability. Do not let your hips swing with the leg. Big frogs. Bend the knees, open the legs, pause, and then draw them together. We'll do about 4 in one way, 4 in the other. Open and then draw them together. Bend the knees. Now keep the carriage still as you open the legs, pause for a breath, and then press from the sit bones to the heels. One more, opening up and then drawing the legs together. Reverse it, straighten the legs, open your legs out, pause for a breath, keep the carriage still as you bend and return. Straighten the legs, open them, pause, and then keep the carriage still. Breathe out, in, out, in. So about 4 to 5 of these in each direction. Maybe check the program here, see what's next. Low openings. Lower the legs down, open them out, draw them together. 6 of these. Inhale, open. Exhale, return. Keep the pelvis in neutral and still. Open the legs and then press from the sit bones, work the inside thighs. Beautiful stretch through the legs whilst lengthening through the torso. High openings. Lift the legs up. Now this time keep the carriage still. Open and close. We'll do 10 of those. Put your hands on the straps, resist, and then resist. Pressing in as you open the legs, press the hands out as you draw them together to create this resistance. The challenge here is to keep the carriage still, work in the back of the legs to keep the carriage still. The springs will want to pull the carriage into the stopper. You're meeting the resistance of the springs by pressing the feet into the straps consistently, working the outside and the inside of the hips. So inhale, open, exhale, draw them together, and then place your hands on the straps, have a stretch. Inhale, lower ribs, mid ribs, upper ribs. Exhale, ever so slightly push your feet into the straps and towards the bar to activate the legs without moving the carriage. Inhale, feel the expansion of the lungs pressing against the inside of the rib cage, lifting you up and out of your pelvis. And then exhale, feeling the release as you relax. Draw the legs back in. We're going to short spine. Put the headrest down, start in frog. Straighten the legs, 1. Draw the legs over, 2. Bed into the stopper. Roll up through your spine, 3. Keep your neck still here. Turn the legs out, bend your knees towards your ears, roll the pelvis away from your heels and then return back to the start position. We're doing 6 of these. Keep the bed into the stopper as you roll up, press your arms down using your core and the back of the legs. Bend your knees in towards the shoulder rests, roll your pelvis away from your heels, and then when you can't roll anymore, draw the heels down to your seat. Straighten the legs. Keep the legs pressing together. All the way into the stopper, you've got to use your thighs and your tummy there. Breathing into your spine, opening up your spine as you roll through your spine. Squeeze the legs together. Use your thighs and your tummy to draw the bed into the stopper. Once you hear it clunk, you tuck your tail up, roll up, turn the legs out, keep reaching through the legs, move the pelvis away from your feet, then your feet towards your pelvis. Hollow out the belly, don't let the belly bulge. Muscles draw the bed into the stopper. Muscles in the legs, reach out through your inside thighs. Roll the hips away from the feet and then the feet towards your hips. Squeeze the kneecaps up. Keep squeezing the kneecaps up, the thighs up. Tuck your tail up, 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 up. Reach out through your legs. And then curve and roll open the spine. Take your feet out of the straps. We're going into semicircle plus reverse. We're going to do a spring change. One spring on the middle, and it is important that the spring is in the middle because we're going to use that to place the tailbone on. Roll onto your back, put your feet up on the bar, and then you've got to wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. If you've got bare skin like me, it can get stuck, so you're going to have to shimmy down like I just did. And then press the heels of the hands into the shoulder rest. The tailbone is touching that spring in the center. The feet are in V. So you're going to tuck the tail under, roll up, reach the knees away from you, press the carriage 3/4 of the way out, roll through the spine, tailbone touches the spring, scrape the tailbone along the spring. Breathe out to roll up, keep the heels together. Breathe in to push out, keep the heels together. Breathe out, roll down, keep the carriage still. Breathe in, bend using the back of the legs. Reach the knees up and away from you. Engage your buttocks to open the hips at the front. Articulate through your spine. Now we're reversing. Scrape the tailbone along the spring. Tuck your tailbone up, lift up, keep the heels together, draw the heels into your coccyx, and then roll down through the spine. Touch the tailbone to the spring, scrape it along the spring, tuck under, squeeze the heels together, the knees are apart, draw the bed in, and then articulating through the spine. The upper shoulders are soft, but the heels of your hands are pressing into the shoulder rests. Beautiful stretch for the thighs and the front of the hips. And then wiggling back onto the carriage. Such a great exercise for your thoracic spine as well. Rolling onto your side. Now we need a pole or a broomstick for the next exercise. So grab that. And we're going to do lunge with a pole. Step up onto the reformer. We have still one spring in the center. Put your left foot against the shoulder rest and your right foot on the bar in line with the right shoulder rest. Put the pole down and then lifting up into the lunge. You're going to straighten your right leg and then bend your right leg. This is to stretch the front of your left hip. We're doing about 4 to 6 of these. Breathing out to straighten, breathing in to return. The buttocks is engaged on both sides to open up the front of the hips, using that right thigh and hamstring to do the movement of pushing the carriage out and in. Hands down, draw the carriage in, swap sides. Pole over to the left, put your right foot against the shoulder rest, put the left foot up in line with the left shoulder rest, lunge out, grab the pole, and then lifting up. The bed will be away from the stopper here. Keep the left heel lifted so your calf muscle is contracted. Feel the stretch in the front of your right hip, and then if you're feeling confident, you push back and forward. Squeeze the left kneecap up, squeeze the hamstring at the back there. Tight front of thigh and then tight back of leg. Opening and breathing into the front of the hip. Keep lifting your breastplate up away from your pubic bone. Creating length in the hips, freedom in the hips. Hands down, draw the carriage in. Step off there, get rid of the pole. Put 3/4 or a half spring on. The video goes a little bit glitchy, so just bear with me. We're doing scooter, C-curve and flat back. Put the box down on the floor in line with the carriage. Okay, you've got one foot in the center of the box in line with the center of the carriage. Knees are even, C-curve. Press back and forward, no hands. The weight is definitely pressing back into the heels. So you feel like you're really sitting back in a chair. The target area are the glutes, particularly that on that supporting leg. Try and keep the supporting leg really still as you do a pendulum action through that left leg, keeping the pubic bone towards your chest. Now into flat back, pressing back and forward about 10 of each. The challenge here is to keep the lower back still, a little hollow in the lower back while you're pendulum action through that left thigh against the carriage. Target area glutes, definitely shifting the weight back. It's a stability challenge as well as strengthening for the glutes. Bring the carriage into the stopper and then do the other side. So you move the box around to the other side. Be careful how you pick up the box. Try and pick it up with a straight back. And then put it down in line with the carriage. Step up onto the box, foot in line with the middle of the carriage. Shift your weight back, knees are even, C-curve. So I'm feeling my ribs connect to my pubic bone there. And then put your hands around your waist so you really feel your tummy scooping and hollowing in. Do not bulge your belly out. Your pubic bone is tucking up towards your sternum. Your buttocks is contracted throughout the whole time, even on the way back in. Feel like your weight is sitting back onto a chair. The challenge is stability, keeping the left side very still. Straighten out your spine, neutral pelvis, neutral spine, and then pressing the carriage back and forward. Even on the way in, you want to contract the right butt cheek. Lengthen sit bones and ears in the opposite direction. Keep your obliques engaged. Have your hands around your waist like a belt, feeling your belt draw in a notch. Out through the mouth, in through the nose, about 10 of each of these. Hands on the bar, curve your spine, and then hop off there. Now we're going into knee stretch, curved, flat, and sprint legs. 2 springs are on. So 2 full strong springs. It is very strong, so do anywhere between 6 to 10 of these. Hands on the bar, sit back on your heels, and then tuck and lift in the curve. Now push back and forward. Try and keep your arms and your shoulders very still as the thighs pendulum in the hips, keeping the lower spine tucked, C-curve through the spine. You'll really feel it in your glutes, your thighs, keeping your upper body very stable, anywhere between 6 to 10. Now into a flat back. So you still lift it up off your heels, out into a flat back. Start with the carriage a little bit away from the stopper. Now you're pushing the knees back and forward within a range that you can keep your arms and your shoulders very still. Deep abdominals are stabilizing your torso and your lats. So really wide shoulder blades pressing the heels and the hands into the bar. Anywhere between 6 to 10. Now into sprint legs. So curve your spine, step your left foot towards the front and grip with the toes. Now lift up, shift your weight back, and then pendulum action through your thighs. So the idea here is to get a feeling of the knees being off the carriage whilst you're lifting up and out through your lower back. Place the knee down, put the left leg back, and then step your right foot forward towards the front. Grip. Your feet are in line with the shoulder rest. Lift up in the C-curve, pendulum action. Once again, keep the arms as still as you can. I'm actually moving them a little bit here. Try and keep them even stiller than I am. Really press the armpits towards the bar and then place the knee down. That'll build your strength up for knee stretch where both knees are off. So now spring change, 1 spring, up stretch 3. Start in a downward facing dog or pyramid position. Tuck the tail under, the buttocks and the lower abdominals are co-contracted. Press out 1, pivot in the shoulders 2, hinge back as far as you can 3, and then scoop your belly and draw the bed in and press the bed into the stopper at the end there. Press out into a plank 1, hinge forward 2, hinge back as far as you can 3, and then try and tuck your pubic bone towards your face to return the bed back into the stopper. Breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out, and then breathe in. Scoop the belly in. Keep the arms still. Now move the arms. Move the arms back. Now try and keep the arms still as you C-curve tucking under. Good. Shoulder stability. Strengthen your shoulders. Strengthen your shoulders. Shoulder stability with deep abdominals and thighs. Anywhere between 6 to 10 of these. The further you go back, the more challenging it's going to be to stabilize your spine. Only push the carriage back within a range that you feel like you're engaging your abdominals and not your lower back. My buttocks is contracted. My feet are against the shoulder rest, but I'm squeezing the legs in towards one another to activate the inside thighs. Keep the collarbones away from the ears so the shoulder blades are nice and wide. Draw the bed into this carriage and then place your knees down into down stretch. Still one spring. Push the carriage back so the bed is away from the stopper. Curve the spine. Press the carriage away. Draw the carriage all the way in. Lift your chest up. Press back and then up and forward. Breathe out. Breathe in. Ribs to hips and then arch the upper spine. We're pivoting in the shoulders, trying to stabilize and keep the pelvis and the waist and the legs still. So you're arching the upper spine and then you're contracting, returning to a neutral. Thoracic extension and then return to neutral. The ribs lift up away from the pelvis, the ribs tuck towards your pelvis and then C-curve the bed into the stopper. Into mermaid with extension, anywhere between 4 to 8 of these. Sitting up in a Z sit, hand on the bar in line with your shoulder, other arm out. Start with the bed away from the stopper. Laterally flex, rotate, go into extension, flexion through the spine, and then lateral flexion. Draw the bed back into the stopper, grab your shin, nose to bicep, pull up and out of the hip. Return to the start position, bed away from the stopper, arm goes out. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, stretch up out of the hip. Start with the arm out, shoulder stable, laterally flex, lifting the rib cage up. Try and press the hands into the bar and then extend and then flex and then rib cage to the ceiling, grab hold, reach up and over, deep abdominals supporting your lower back. And then the other side. So you flip over, Z sit. If you can't sit in a Z sit, then you can sit with your legs crossed over like a kid in a classroom, or you can actually do this with the feet down on the floor. Thoracic extension, and then try and nip the ribs in towards the hips. Keep the bed still as you rotate around. Grab hold, collarbones away from the ears, laterally rotate the scapula, and then return to the start position, bed away from the stopper. Lift the rib cage up. Keep the arms as straight as you can as you press heels of the hands into the bar. Keep the arms straight, open the chest. Keep the arms straight, curve the chest. And then laterally flex. You'll really notice one side of your spine is stiffer than the other. Take your time to breathe space into that area of your body. Deep abdominals. Try not to overarch your lower back. Keep the belly in as you reach your breastplate forward. Keep the belly in as you nip the ribs towards your hips. Flare the rib cage out. Grab hold, belly in as you reach up, 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 up and out. And then return. Now we're going into lateral and short box work. So short box series, C-curve with a pole. You might want to, I'm just checking the program there. So you grab the box, make sure you're picking it up ergonomically. You can put the box against the shoulder rest or over the shoulder rest. Put all the springs on just to secure the carriage into the stopper. You need a little pole here. So actually I've had to go and grab a little pole, so half a broomstick length. If you don't have that, grab a tie or a yoga strap or a TheraBand. If you've got a TheraBand, you can use that as well. So you grab your little pole, you put your feet underneath the straps, and we're going to start with C-curve with the pole. Feet are flexed. You're towards the front of your box so that you can put your hand at the back of the box. Arms are out. C-curve back. C-curve forward and then elongate. Straighten your legs, tuck your pubic bone towards your face, go up and over and then lift. Keep your arms horizontal to the floor. You're hinging back as far as you can, keeping the tuck of your tail. So my buttock muscles are contracting here and my thighs. And now arms up above your head. Flat back, inhale, hinge, all the way back, and then exhale, return. About 4 to 6 to 8 of these. Now you want to stay straight from hips right up through to the hands. So you imagine you're in a car seat, hinging back and then coming forward. Relax your bottom, squeeze your bottom, hinge back. Come back up, lift, release your buttocks. Contract your buttocks, feel the lift. Keep that contraction as you lengthen up and then release your bottom. Contract and then tilt over to the side, back through center, relax your bum. Contract your bum, lift up and out, and then reach up and over. The right side goes forward a little bit more than the left, and then you release. Lengthen up and out, keep the collarbones away from the ears, pull the pole apart to help you with that. In this exercise, not only are we lifting up and out, but we're trying to stretch the left side of the waist and lower back as you lift up and over. And now into round the world. So you rotate all the way around and then back through center, relax. Lift and contract, rotate, hinge, go through the hinge to the other side, back through center, relax. Contract your bottom, lift up and out, pull the pole apart, hinging around, really targeting the oblique muscles, and the buttocks is helping you connect to that lift up and out. Put the pole down. We're doing sides on the box plus pulses. The hands are on the knee here, anywhere between 6 to 10 of these. So your side on, your foot is in line with your hip and your glutes are contracted. So you start in the diagonal position, you go down and then you lift up, out to the diagonal, go over, through the diagonal lift and then back out to that long position. It's the same sensation when you were doing like the hinges in short box series where you're contracting and lifting up and up and up and out of the pelvis. The foot in the strap is pushing up to the ceiling, so you're strengthening the outside of the hip. And then we do about 6 to 10 of these, whatever feels good for you. It's pretty intense, and then into pulses. So you start out on that diagonal position and you lift with length. Anywhere between, once again, 6 to 10. Lift with length, lift with length. As it gets tough, push into your hand, into your knee. And then elbow on the headrest and reach up and over. Allow your head to relax. Keep breathing. To come out of it, rotate, put your hand on the frame, and then up you come. Now onto the other side. So put your foot underneath the strap, flex your foot. It's a little scary. You've got to have the foot sort of hovering in space, pushing the strap up. The foot is in line with your torso, and then over you go, and then up you go. You're actually on the outside of your right hip. You do not have both sit bones down. The top hip is definitely lifted off the box, and you go from a diagonal position, laterally flexing from that diagonal position down and up. Anywhere between 6 to 10 of these, pushing the hand into the knee to help you get a lift up through your sternum and your chest. Glutes engaged, belly lifting up, so there's that co-contraction to lengthen you out of your posture. And then into mini pulses, lifting from that diagonal position. Try and draw your shoulder blades down and back, lifting up and out of your sternum, targeting left rib to left hip, but with a real sense of elongation. Side stretch, elbow on the headrest, reaching up and over. It's like you're up against a wall. So you're straight, but you're laterally flexing, really opening up the side body. Allow your head to relax to stretch your neck as well. And then rotate, put your hand on the box, and then sit up. Now we're going into long box work. So actually keep the, so put the box side on, so lengthways rather, and then actually keep the foot bar up. We're going to do 3/4 or a half a spring on. You want it quite light in this exercise series, otherwise you're going to slide off the box. So either 3/4 or a half, and the bar is up. Lying on your stomach, your chest is off the edge, your hands are out the width of your shoulders. Start with your arms straight, back extension plane. Legs are active, you're lifting all the way up, lifting the hip bones off, pubic bone on the box, and then return to neutral. Inhale, lift up, engage your buttocks and your tummy, and then exhale, return. Now we're adding in an arm lift. Lift one arm up without rocking. Lift the other arm out without rocking, and then return. Now we're going into salute. So you lift up, hand to forehead, return, hand to forehead, engaging your obliques, and then return. Collarbones away from the ears. Now into rotation. You lift and rotate to the left, return, abdominals firm. Rotate to the right, return, nip your ribs into your hips, legs active. Reach the legs away from you, and then lengthening out to neutral. Lift up and rotate, enjoy the opening, and then return back to neutral, glutes, abs engaged. Bed back into the stopper. We're going to do a spring change, one spring on. We're going into Buttlifter 1 and 2. It's a bit of an art getting into this. Step one foot into the strap, step the other foot. Be very careful as you do this. And then you're on the box, straddling the box, and then you whip your toes around so that they stay on your feet. Knees and feet as close together, pubic bone imprinted into the floor. Press your forearms into the box. Draw your heels in towards your buttocks and then reach back out, controlling the equipment. This obviously targets the back of the legs. Make sure that you're pressing your pubic bone into the box as best you can. Think of almost lifting the knees off the box. I could be doing this a bit better than that. I need to lift my knees off the box a little more to help my pelvis remain in a neutral position. Really great for the inside thighs because the legs are together and your buttocks. Now knees apart with the feet together. Knees are out the width of the box. Your feet are together. Feel the sit bones connect to the thighs, and then you draw your heels in towards your coccyx, reach the tailbone away, into the coccyx, reaching away. Heels to coccyx, lengthen the tailbone. I want you to strengthen your buttocks, but deeply abdominals are working here to support your back. You can either flex the feet or you can point them, just experiment with what feels good for you. Really targets the hamstrings and the buttocks. To get off there, just drop the straps, swimming legs only. So bring your legs into parallel, flutter the legs, pelvic stability is the focus. The movement is in the hips. Do not move your lower back. Heel beats. The heels are tapping together, beating your heels together, your kneecaps are squeezing up, and you're beating your heels together using your inside thighs and your groin muscles. Reach the legs away and then release. Hop off there. Put the box down. Spring change. So I'm just checking my program here. That's the printable PDF that's attached in the description. We've got one spring on. You're kneeling with your knees against the shoulder rests. Kneeling up, kneeling arms, grab hold of the straps, put your hands through the straps and then grab hold. And we're doing chest expansion with looks. Arms by your side, look to the right, to the left, return with control. And then look to the left and the right. So you're alternating which side you return to. Focus on the mid-back muscles, drawing your shoulder blades together. And then the little head look is like you're trying to rotate your head with as much ease in the neck and the throat as possible. The focus is drawing the scapula, the shoulder blades together. Keep lifting up and out of the pelvis. The hamstrings, the buttocks are engaged. The pubic bone is zipping up towards your belly button to help you lift up and out of the hips. Biceps in a hinge, arms out and then hinging back. Try and keep the arm bone as still as possible. So you keep the arm bone parallel to the floor and then you're moving your forearms. I look down towards my pubic bone every now and again to make me connect to my core a little better, really tucking the pubic bone towards your face so that you're not arching from the spine. You're hinging from the knees, strengthening and lengthening your thigh muscles. Up to 10 of those, and then we go into triceps on the heels, up to 10 of these. Straighten and bend the elbows, keeping the elbows in by your side. The scapula are stabilized, so nip the scapula in towards a V, and then moving the arms back and forth within a range that you can keep the scapula flat and still against the back of the shoulder, the rib cage rather. Draw the bend in at the stopper, and then we turn around and we do triceps sitting on the heels. So you put the straps down for safety, and then you set your feet up, grab one strap, grab the other. Now pull your arms in front of you, keep them in front of you, then kneel up. Hug a tree, up to 6 to 10 of these. Elbows are softly bent. Our target area is the chest and the front of the arms. The challenge is to not hunch the shoulders up. So think of reaching the armpits in the direction that the armpits are facing. That'll help you stabilize your scapula that are in a slight rotation there. Push-ups, hands in by your side, you're pressing away and then return. The elbows are about 15 to 30 centimeters out from the ribs, and then the hands go straight forward and straight in like you're pushing a wall. Lift up and out of your pelvis, check into your pelvic alignment and your spine. Salute. Hands to forehead, reach up and then to the forehead. Reach up to the temples. The hands go wider than the shoulders and then to the temples. The challenge here is to keep the collarbones away from your ears. Think of laterally rotating the shoulder blades to help stabilize your shoulders. If I was to poke around your belly button, firm and lifted there. Draw the bed into the stopper, then put them down. We're going into rowing back one. You keep the spring on the full, it's one spring, so just keep it on there. Rowing back one, we've got one leg on top of the other, and then your hand length away from the edge of the reformer. Knuckles are together, elbows out wide. Bring the hands in towards your chest, keep them into your chest, C-curve back, arms down in a low V. C-curve forward, hands touch, reach the arms out and around, kiss the wrists together, and then return back to the start position. Bring the hands in and now reach the legs away from you. Press from the mid-back muscles, imprint your lower spine back. Now as you go around, squeeze your bottom, reach the legs away, imprint your lower back, and then elevate up. Bring the hands in, deep abdominals, reach the legs away. Mid-back muscles, imprint the lower back, contract your buttocks, and then keep the buttocks engaged as you lift up. Switching legs, left leg on top, start position exactly the same. Biceps 1, keep the hands into your sternum, squeeze your legs, reach them to the back of the reformer, arms go down, shoulders away from the ears. Draw the shoulder blades back together. Now imprint your lower spine back, contract your buttocks, kiss the wrists together, and then lift up. Hands into chest, C-curve back, hold it there, and then tap the hands up and over. You're drawing the tummy up away from your thighs are squeezing the kneecaps straight and lift. One last one. Reach the legs away. It's very active in the legs, it's not just the upper body and the abs. Imprint the lower back and then elongate up. Other side, so put the straps down and then turn around, and we're doing rowing front. Either legs crossed over or you can have your legs straight. Hands in the straps, elbows back behind you, hands in line with your waist. Lift, tap, lift, rotate, return. Arms forward, arms down, lift and then return. The challenge here is to not use your upper trapezius. You want to keep the collarbones down. Scapular stability up and down as you rotate the arms around. So if I was to poke around the muscles around underneath your shoulder blades, underneath your armpits, those muscles there are firm as you circle the arms around. Put the straps down, hop off there. We're going into abduction and adduction exercises to finish off. We're going to put one spring on. Oh, here I am. I was just testing that I was in the screen there. So don't step up into the carriage like that. Put the foot plate down, the foot bar down rather, and put one strong spring on so it still remains the same as the rowing back and front. Step onto the foot plate. Now, skating one with the opposite arm. We're moving the carriage leg only and then the opposite arm. This is about stabilizing the supporting leg and stabilizing the torso. Moving the carriage leg and the opposite arm without disrupting the stability through your torso and the leg. The target area of the glutes, you're very much so sitting back into the heels. 10 of those, then the other side. So this is quite challenging here. So now we're keeping the carriage side very still with the leg. We're moving the foot bar side and then reaching the opposite arm. Scapula laterally rotates as you reach the arm over your head so you're not pulling the collarbone up around your ear. Our target area, once again, are the glutes. Definitely gets into your thighs as well. And the challenge is to stay very low, like the ceiling is right against your back there, so no option to go up and down. Skating 3. Now don't look towards the back of the reformer, look towards the outside of the reformer, then to the back and return, if that makes sense. Pushing out with both legs this time. Synchronizing the movement so both legs extend at the same time without bobbing up and down through your torso. The scapula rotate laterally. Torso stability whilst moving both arms and legs. Do not rotate around through your torso. And then 10 of those. Now hop off safely, step off. Now we step up onto the foot plate first and then up onto the carriage. Bend your knees, so skating 1, we move the carriage leg and the opposite arm. Stabilizing the pelvis, stabilizing the shoulder girdle whilst you move those limbs. If I was to poke around my deep abdominals, then my belly is drawing in flat to support my back, my pelvic floor is lifted up internally. Now, I was feeling pretty exhausted at this stage, so if you need a rest, feel free to do that. And then the other side, so you're pushing the carriage leg out and then the opposite arm, anywhere between 6 to 10 of these. Obliques are helping you keep the pelvis square to the floor. The scapula is laterally rotating so that you can keep the collarbone away from the ear as you reach the arm over the head. Stand up, have a little breather, and now into skating 3. So we start looking away and then towards the back of the reformer. And look to the back of the reformer, try and touch the back of the reformer. Really press both legs out, straightening both legs simultaneously, bending both legs simultaneously. You're pivoting around your torso there, you're pivoting around the neck is actually pivoting there, but you're trying to keep your torso as still as possible. Okay. Step onto the foot plate to come off. And now we're going into adduction with a roll down. Now we want a very light spring here, half a spring, because we're focusing on our inside thighs. It's a light spring, so do not step onto the carriage because you could fall off it. Step onto the foot plate first, then into the center or thereabouts. Arms are out. So press the carriage out, lift the arms up, inhale. Press the arms out to T, and now squeeze the legs together for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1, and then open out. And then if I was to poke around my inside thighs there, really firm, pressing the bed in at the stopper. And then you'll feel this gorgeous lift up through your core as you do that. Anywhere between 3 to 6 of these. The lighter the spring, the harder it is. So if this is too much for you, you just put on a little more tension. Now roll through the spine, try and keep the bed in at the stopper there. That's the challenge. So as you do the roll down and up, you've got to keep the bed in at the stopper. Don't let it bump in and out, and that'll really target the inside thighs. Step up onto the foot plate and then onto the carriage. The leg is in towards the center of the carriage, arms out, neutral pelvis and spine, reaching up and over, and then return with the length. Pubic bone to navel, sternum lifted. Inhale, pressing out as far as you can. Exhale, inside thighs, lift. Between 6 to 10 of these, maybe 3 to 8 of these. Just do what you can. Make sure it's even on both sides though. Such a great exercise for strengthening the inside thighs and the pelvic floor. Keep the bed in at the stopper, roll through the spine. Keep the bed in at the stopper as you roll up. You should really feel that. And then step onto the foot plate to hop off. And then our final exercise is tendon stretch. Put the foot bar up. We have a sticky mat is very important for this exercise. Don't put it on the bar like I have. You actually need to put it at the front of the carriage, and that's so you don't slide. Okay, so that's just the sticky mat that I have is just one of those sticky things that you put underneath a chopping board, so they're fantastic. Okay, feet in a V, hands on the bar, heels together, head is down, breathing out to push the carriage back. So you push the carriage back, keep the heels together, 1, draw the heels underneath the bar, 2, lift the heels up, 3, and then return to the start position, 4. Squeeze the kneecaps up, keep the kneecaps straight as you draw the heels down. Tuck the tail, imprint your lower back, and then roll on your tailbone as you return back in. Breathing out to straighten, breathing in to lower, breathing out to lift, scoop the belly, and then breathing in to return. Keep the upper shoulders nice and soft. Breathing out through the mouth, breathing in, flex, feel the nerve stretch. And then eventually we bend the elbows even more there so that your forehead is towards the floor. So try and touch your forehead towards your knees, bend your elbows as you flex, lift and imprint, and then keep imprinting the spine back as you roll underneath. Anywhere between 6 to 8 of these. Just unwinding at the end of the class. Well done, guys. You have successfully completed level 4. You are officially cooked. So how did you go? I really hope you enjoyed that workout. I'm looking forward to taking you through my next video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you can stay up to date and get notified when it's released. If you did enjoy the workout, tapping the like button is always appreciated. Thanks for watching, and remember, movement is medicine.